It all started on a Monday when Tony Bullimore turned his small yacht into the teeth of the Southern Ocean and found the ocean had other plans. This is a true life tale of stubborn seamanship, a ferocious swell, and the bureaucratic knots that nearly unstitched a rescue, set against the cold blue of the Tasman Sea in May 1997. Bullimore was no reckless weekend sailor. A veteran of long passages, he had circled oceans and chosen the lonely trade of solo voyaging. On that voyage, his boat rolled and then violently capsized, throwing him into a nightmare many mariners fear: an inverted hull, a trapped air pocket, the sky upside down through an upturned cockpit, and nights measured in the slow depletion of candles and hope. For 5 days he clung to survival. The story reads like an adventure film. Improvised life rafts fashioned from a skiff wedged under the hull, water rationed, a cigarette lighter conserved as if it were a hat. He was cold, battered and bruised, but alive, buoyed by trapped air and a refusal to accept the sea's final tally. He radioed a position, and the world watched an extraordinary contest between human endurance and institutional inertia. The tension came not only from waves. Once an emergency call left an individual in the Southern Ocean, 1,000 layers of authority began to move. Merchant vessels, Australian Maritime Safety Authority call centers, military commanders, salvage coordinators, and shore-based forecasters. In the fog of rescue, hours are currency. Here, the drama grew bureaucratic. Competing reports of position, confused handoffs between civilian and naval assets, and a delay while naval vessels altered course from hundreds of miles away.
The timestamps don't match.
Verify location B now.
When the word finally reached the Royal Australian Navy, HMAS Adelaide steamed through the night. Helicopters caught into the wind and rain. There was a public unfolding. Media helicopters tracking the rescue, radio dispatches crackling over frequencies, and a nation exhaling as sailors finally reached that overturned hull. They hauled Tony from the air pocket into a stretcher, pale and exhausted, but alive, and flew him to Hobart, where doctors confirmed what everyone hoped: survival against ruthless odds. But the drama did not end with his rescue. The aftermath opened a different theater: inquiry, accusation, and what some called a conspiracy. The conspiracy was not black-hooded villains, but a collage of institutional failures. Critics argued that delays in the response were rooted in jurisdictional confusion and a chain of command that left a man alone for too long because no single agency had clear responsibility for a yacht in that remote stretch of ocean. Others pointed to the limits of then current tracking technology and to commercial traffic that might have been closer but failed to spot the overturned hull in time. Media reporting fed public anger, pressing officials for accountability and answers about why it had taken so long. Investigations that followed were careful. They found no deliberate cover-up, but they did reveal systemic weaknesses: poor information transfer between rescue centers, uneven standards for monitoring solo yachts, and an underfunded search and rescue infrastructure that strained under the demands of modern ocean racing and solo adventuring. Governments and maritime authorities accepted the critique. Policies changed. Tracking became standard. Distress protocols were tightened, and cooperation between civilian and military responders improved. Tony Bullimore returned home to headlines and sympathy, but the rescue left a heavier legacy than one man's survival: It peeled back the romance of solo sailing and showed the brittle scaffolding that supports extreme adventure. Radios, regulations, and an entire network that must work flawlessly for a single life to be saved. The conspiracy in the end was institutional, not malicious but complacent. The reforms that followed were small acts of humility in the face of the sea. This is an adventure with a hard lesson. The ocean tests not just an individual's courage, but the resilience of the systems we build to protect them. Bullimore's 5 days beneath an inverted hull became a brutal mirror. It asked whether, in the age of global voyaging, we would only celebrate isolated heroism or also repair the safety net that keeps such stories from becoming obituaries.